commit.
Well, sure. My pleasure. Actually, I did this about 15 years ago for about a year.
Yeah. Done at the end of the month. Or engineer. That's what he's gonna bring up.
I'm sorry?
Got another one lined up.
Do I like it's interesting. Certain aspects, yes.
He does.
Yes. 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 Yeah, right now, myself and my law office partner are the city attorneys for Malvindale
All they do is municipality.
and over there. But yes, when done properly, yes. That's the key phrase.
Yeah,
Right, right.
that's good. And we had a meeting today with Banesh.
You up here or down there, Bruce? Oh, that's good. How's everything going? Yeah, you looking good? What are you, assistant chief now or what?
Director of all things not on this side of the building. Anything that's not on this side of the building.
Who's the chief now? Oh, you are the chief. Oh, I didn't know that. No, I know. Yeah, they got that other guy over there now. I haven't seen you in a while. When did you become chief? Or are you interim chief right now? Oh, you've been chief since January? Oh, wow, good for you. Congratulations. Wow, well, that's awesome. No wonder I saw your name in there. I thought you were filling in or something. Yeah, for sure. How's the family? Hey, how are you, man?
Good to see you. Thanks for me.
Thanks.
For, like, we're gonna do this walkway, bridge walkway through us. Do we have a contract for them?
We have a contract for him. What do you mean?
How do we go about awarding the contract to us?
How do we develop the contract with them? We'll work with the attorney to use a template because they'll have that.
Well, we ought to start the template,
Yeah, we need to do that immediately. So we can take it as an action.
because I got all his paperwork coming in.
So we, just for background, nothing action tonight, but we have a lot of ongoing infrastructure projects. One of them is a walking bridge that we're replacing,
Okay.
or structurally updating, combination of it. We have established a pathway with somebody we want to do the work based on the bidding process.
Okay.
Now we need to get a contract in place to formalize the agreement.
Right.
So that would be something we'd work through the attorney's office to make sure we let them.
Sometimes they pass a resolution to start negotiations with whatever group it is.
Oh,
We've already authorized
You already
the
done-
work
oh,
to
you
go in
already
a
done?
direction. We
Yeah.
just need to make sure we formalize the agreement. So
We
we'll work.
already bid it out,
Oh, okay.
and we awarded it.
Oh, okay.
Usually we have something like that, it'll go through like Rains, and they aren't involved in it.
I see.
So the takeaway. We'll work on this in action. We'll have our infrastructure folks, John included, and our engineering support, which is transitioning right now. Make sure we have the material all together, and then your office, Anthony, can work to make sure they are okay with the agreement that's
Right,
generated.
Absolutely.
All right, if we can get everybody's mic screen, we are 1 minute away. All right, that clock has struck 30. If we can get everybody seated, please, we will go ahead and kick off. Dorothy, we're going to need you over here. Thank you.
You need to use that. Good, Jason, nice to see you. Use your gavel.
All right, at this time, we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everybody to the City Council meeting this evening. We're just coming off a public hearing, which is very constructive. And so with that, I'd like to have Clerk Tomasic please call roll.
Schumate.
Here.
Cox.
Here.
McNabb.
Here.
Mulnar.
Here.
Valentine. Walden.
Here.
Wood.
Here.
Council will be looking for a motion to excuse absent member Councilman Valentine.
Motion to excuse Councilman Valentine.
Is there a second? Second by Cox. Any discussion? Clerk Tomasic, please call roll.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Motion carried. At this time, we'd be looking at our agenda. Members of public and council, in front of you, we have our publicly noticed agenda, and council will be looking for a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Walden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by McNabb. Any discussion on this evening's agenda? Clerk Tomasic, please call roll.
McNabb. Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
With an approved agenda, we'd like to turn it over to public comment. So we'd love for any members of public that wish to address council to please approach that podium, make sure that light is green, and state your name and address.
Tired of hearing from me, but thanks for having me. Dennis Bosmer, 29775 Point Drive. So I just want to thank the City of Gibraltar, from DPW to the fire department to the police department and everybody in between. A couple of the members of the DPW came out and donated blood today. Some of the city workers that work in the front office came out and laid down in the bed and put their arm out there for their fellow humanity, so I really appreciate that. It moves me personally. And, they have a benchmark, like I said before, they have a charge nurse that comes out, they have an employment cost and overhead. So they really hope to hit at least 27 pints when they come out, units, and we pulled 32 from the City of Gibraltar and our surrounding neighbors too. We have people from Carlton, South Rockwood. She said, Diane Risco is the regional manager for the Red Cross. She said, you guys are at a great location here. You got the southernmost part of Wayne County to cover. So we're really a pivot point for collection in this area. And like I said, we see that. We can't, like I say, we come from Waltz and different areas, even in Monroe County. So great day. We had 3 people I picked out of a hat, like a registration form to win tickets to 6 Points amusement park, 2 tickets each. 3 people won that. So that was a fun little giveaway. And so thanks for everything, and thanks for supplying the power, the heat, the electricity, the air conditioning. So it's got to be a certain temperature. And got with Austin, he helped me get the keys so we can unlock the building this morning, and just everybody working together. That's where you just love your community, and everyone is just working for the betterment of our community. You can't ask for more than that, So the next blood drive will be already starting to beat the drum, November 14th. So that'll be the last one of the year. And that'll be at the Gil Talbert Community Center on South Gibraltar Road, November 14th. So thanks for your time. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. Any additional members of public that wish to address council?
So, George Fulmer, 30636 Bayview. The situation on Point in Stofit, all the loose gravel, I know Rob brought it up a couple of meetings ago. I ride my bike a lot, I go around there. I picked on little kids, them little scooters got to go 25 miles an hour. Hitting that gravel, they won't even go to court if they go to sue you. What can we do to get this fixed?
Absolutely. I know this is an issue we've raised with our Infrastructure Advisory Committee and DPW department.
I've been there twice myself with a broom and shoveled the stone out of there. It's just a bad situation, okay?
It needs to be fixed, and I know the teams are all hands on deck to make sure that happens immediately.
Okay.
Thank you. Any additional members of public that wish to address council? All right, well, if there's no additional public comment on the opening, keep in mind we do have public comment before we close. Thank you to the members that have already addressed council, and with that, we will move on to our consent agenda. Council, this evening, we have items A through F on our consent agenda. We're looking for a motion to approve consent agenda items A through F.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Walden, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wood. Any discussion on the consent agenda items this evening? Clerk Tomasic, whenever you're ready, we'll have you call roll.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Next on our agenda is going to be our communications, for which we have items A through D. We'll start with item A, which is letter of resignation from John Wood from Planning Commission and DDA. We'll be looking for a motion to receive and file item A.
Motion to receive and file.
Is there a second?
Second.
Just want to take an opportunity to thank you for your service on the planning and DDA, and we respect your decision to pursue your next chapter that is not a member of the commission. But with that, the council members sitting up here with me will be responsible for making an appointment to fill your seat. So, John, thank you again for your service to the community, not only on that board, but more broadly. And if there's no additional discussion, we will have Clerk Domestic call roll.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Motion carried. Next on our agenda is going to be item B, which is a letter of resignation from Cody Dill on the Board of Review. We're looking for a motion to receive and file item B.
Motion to receive and file.
Motion by Cox,
Second.
second by Molnar. Any discussion? Cody, thank you for your service in that capacity. I know there's some evolving guardrails that have led to that resignation, so thank you for submitting that. And with that, we'll have Clerk Tomasic please call roll.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes, motion carried. Next item is going to be from our 33rd District Court resolution to accept the 33rd Judicial District Court Annual Financial Report for the year ending December 31st, 2024. Council will be looking for a motion to receive and file item C.
Actually, I'm sorry. They're looking for a motion to adopt this resolution. I normally would have put it under Pat since he's the liaison for the, but he wasn't here, so I put it under communication.
So that motion would not be to just receive and file, but rather to adopt the resolution to accept the 33rd Judicial District Court Annual Financial Report for the year ending December 31st, 2024.
Which is attached.
Is there a motion to adopt resolution to accept 33rd Judicial Court budget?
Well, this is their financial report?
Yeah. I don't have any background on it. The court held their meeting. Like I said, Mr. Valentine's the liaison for that, but he's been absent this month, so I don't have any information on it. I'm sorry, but this is their financial report through their audit. So they're looking for all the communities they represent to adopt the resolution accepting it.
Okay, to accept it, not to adopt it.
To adopt the resolution that's accepting the,
Understood.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Molnar and Clerk Tomasic. Do you have a clarity on that motion?
yes.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Walden. Any discussion on this matter? And Clerk Tomasic will give it back to you whenever you're ready to call roll.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. That motion is carried. The next item is going to be item D, and the last item on our communications this evening, which is the Michigan Municipal League Annual Meeting Notice. I'll be looking for a motion to receive and file the MML Annual Meeting Notice.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion by Molnar. I heard a second by Walden, if I'm not mistaken. McNabb? Any discussion on that matter? Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll whenever you're ready.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Motion carried. That will complete our communications, items A through D, and it will bring us to my report this evening. Council, for my report, I have items A through E. I'll go one by one. Item A is an update on our city engineer support. Following previous discussions here with council, inclusive members of public, we are in a state of transitioning away from CE Rains and our partnership with Rains. That will be effective officially on July 30th. We did have a planning and transition call with them today, and they are making sure that the loops are closed related to critical ongoing projects, such as lead lines, the associated, I would say, punch list coming out of the work that's been done, as well as some of the billing that we need to make sure is closed. So the good news is we have a robust plan with our members of administration and the day-to-day operation. John was there for that meeting as well, to make sure that the loops are being closed with CE Rains. What we need to evaluate in front of us, council, is who will be supporting that engineer need next. I know John, Councilman Cox, and myself, amongst other members, have been evaluating the landscape of options that we have for that support, and more importantly, defining the real needs that we have. So a couple things I want to highlight today. The meeting with Rains allowed us to take an inventory on what ongoing projects we have within Rains in regards to the engineering partnership. We also pulled in our building department, and why that's critical is because Laura, who sits here as a representative of McKenna, helped educate us on the different elements of the building department on a day-to-day basis and the engineering support required. Some of that would be related to like site plans and plot plans as we get submissions that McKenna is in the intake, and then they're coordinating with Rains historically, or moving forward, our future engineering support to make sure that the expertise is collectively on all of the submission requirements. To give you kind of a gauge of frequency, it varies, right? So as we're getting builds and submissions, obviously that need is required. But Laura had commented on a frequency. It could be 3 submissions a week, or it could be gaps of weeks without a submission. Long story short, it's a day-to-day operational need for engineering support beyond the broader strategic projects we have. I want to give you all that background because I'm not asking for any action this evening from council. But what I'm suggesting is that we need to make a decision on how we want to approach the engineering services in context of our bigger strategic projects, such as our ongoing water main project and others, as well as our day-to-day operational needs for the building department. Councilman Cox, John, and I had been driving some outreach with different engineering firms. One of the engineering firms that I'd included some information for council this evening is AEW. I know Scott Lockwood is their EVP. He's the one that we've met, both John, myself, and Councilman Cox. John also got a chance to sit in with Rains to better understand some of the needs and transitional considerations. At a high level, I included a lot of information in the packet. I won't go into exhaustive detail. But they were originally founded in 1968. They service and partner with 30 communities across Southeast Michigan. They're very experienced with the unique challenges of waterfront communities. City of St. Clair, Port Huron, Marine City, Chesterfield Township, St. Clair Shores, Grosse Pointe Woods, City of Grosse Pointe. They have a lot of, I'd say, familiarity with the challenges we face in a unique waterfront community environment. They have 160 individuals in the firm that provide a lot of differential expertise and experience, such as grant seeking and pull through, in addition to the day-to-day operational needs we'd require. So long story short, I think it's one individual and thus representing the firm that would be somebody we should seriously consider for an interim consulting support when it comes to engineering. That's actually Scott there that's walking in the door. So if council has any questions for him. But I want to make sure we go through this process correctly. So my recommendation for council is simple. You've kind of got an outline of the needs that we have. We can't leave this door open. Obviously, you think about broader charter and ordinance language, but specifically the day-to-day operational needs and strategic priorities we need to fulfill. Council, I'd recommend that we have the longer-term pathways I described in my packet of making sure we RFP this work and evaluate the options we have through a fair process. In the immediate term, I recommend that we consider a interim consulting partnership with a firm like Scott and AEW to make sure that we have continuity in the operation for the engineering support. What I'd ask is, I've asked Scott, and we can obviously do the same for other individuals that have been contacted, to put forth a formal service agreement proposal beyond the general proposal that I've put in your packet. And that will allow us to converge on the August 11th council meeting, our next council meeting, to make sure we can drive a decision on our pathway for that engineering support. But I want to stop there and just see if council had any feedback, guidance, before we progress on that path. From my consultation with Rains and the building department, everybody seems comfortable with the small window of exposure we'll have, meaning Rains will step away on the 30th. We'll have about less than 2 weeks of exposure with not a formal engineer in place until we could try and arrive at a decision point on the 11th. So I really am asking council for 2 things. 1, any feedback you have, and then 2, making sure not only for this immediate need, a service agreement for somebody like AEW to make sure we have immediate support, but then the broader pathway of an RFP process that we make sure we have those balls moving.
So I'd like to jump in.
Please.
Thank you. The first question I have is, for the projects that are ongoing right now that Rains provided presumably provided the actual engineering work on, such as the paving replacement, are they going to stick with us through that entirety of that project, or are they're going to step away? So they've done the initial point, and do we have an agreed upon amount that we're paying them for that scope of work where they provided the initial part but are going to break?
We had the invoice for that. It's a percentage of the contract.
But they're not gonna finish seeing it through?
I was just getting the contract documents and put together the contract book.
I think, Rob, it's a good flag, which is we need to take a look at any of the billing that's open for the projects that are in flight to make sure we're appropriately compensating, but not overcompensating, given the ongoing nature of those projects and the lack of completion.
So are we anticipating additional expenses from AEW on those projects at all, or I guess when we talk about continuity of engineering, what are we going to be asking these folks to do on current projects?
I think the devil will be in the details in that we'll need to get the strategic priority list of projects that are ongoing, evaluate the contract obligation and terms with Rains to make sure we close out what work has been done, and then make sure there's a handoff of information and responsibility to the new firm. So we'd have to go project by project, and I would welcome, you and Councilman Cox and our attorney to make sure that we're looking at that carefully.
Yeah, from a contractor's perspective, when a engineer or an architect is assigned on a project, and once we get working on the project, they're usually our initial decision maker. If we have a question of unforeseen circumstances or ambiguous conditions in the contract documents, if they're not that resource, I guess we need to figure out what the value of that is, and if we're going to be paying a different company for doing that work, we certainly shouldn't be paying two companies for doing that scope of work. It's my first flag that I think we ought to pay attention to. Secondly, on the broader RFP, I don't when I have a project that I'm going to put out for bid that is not something that I understand the scope for deeply, I don't put together an RFP. I call a few vendors and I explain to them what I'm looking to do, and I ask for their proposals. Those vendors being the people that are going to offer to do a scope of work for me, I'm going to be able to evaluate whether I think it's a thorough scope of work or not. But I put that onus on them to create the proposal package, rather than us delaying because we don't have expertise to create an RFP in-house for that. I think that a lot of times the things that we're not experts at, we push away, and those are the last things that we want to grab on the table, and so we end up just delaying longer and longer. In my own career, I certainly suffer from that too. If something I'm not real comfortable, I don't work on it every day. I gotta wait until I'm thoroughly focused to work on it. Then I find out afterwards it took me like 11 minutes to do it, and I wish I would have did it 3 months ago. I think this is one of those things where putting out a proposal or a RFP, if you will, doesn't have to be a huge project. I think it can really be as simple as calling 5 or 6 engineers that are out there and saying, hey, this is where we're at, this is what we do. Most of these folks have gone to operating for municipalities anyway. Most of the engineers out there are pretty well focused on municipal services. So I think that we could probably just make a few calls and get proposals without too much of a time delay.
I think you're spot on, and that was my goal, right? Bringing AEW is exactly that approach, an outreach to a firm just like Scott, who could share in a proposal. I know, Councilman Cox, you'd reached out to some folks I believe that you know in the space, so Rob, I'm in alignment, just getting proposals, and this is one of hopefully many we will have.
Understood, okay.
That's correct. we've reached out, indicating that we're gonna need services, so ask for them to respond based on that.
I think the nice part is now you have AEW's proposal. Scott's in the room if you have any questions for AEW while Scott's present. But obviously, my goal would be to converge us on a decision point on August 11th.
Yeah, and my other, when I look at some of these, I see unit cost, hourly cost, mainly hourly cost, unless I skimmed through and I missed something else. I know there was a lump sum in the back.
Scott, you can come to the podium too if there's any questions specific to the proposal you've put forth that you could address while we're live here.
I guess how would we be able to oversee what an allowable billing was? How do we know what to expect in terms of how many technician ones or twos or threes are going to be assigned to a project? Would we have budgets per project?
Yes, that's what I would anticipate. I mean, I
So-
think right now we're talking kind of like an interim basis, right? I think the idea, I think ultimately that the city is looking at is probably putting out an RFP or a request for proposals, or same thing, I guess. And then come up with a long-term, maybe a 3-year, 5-year agreement with an engineer. We were looking at kind of just a stopgap agreement so that you have somebody on your staff that's in, professional engineers, a professional engineering firm. So, those are our hourly rates, but let's say we took over because like you said, Raines is not interested in doing the construction engineering on the parking lot for the City Hall and Recreation Building. And we talked to them about that, and basically, they said they would hand it over, they would be available for consultation, because there's obviously, well, not obviously, but very likely some design things that we're gonna need to ask questions about, or special provisions, or whatever. But we would put together an estimate of what we thought it was gonna cost, assuming you want full-time inspection out there and testing and all that. And that would be a not-to-exceed number. And then we would charge against that at those hourly rates. And if we looked like we were gonna exceed, we would either have to eat it, or we'd have to come back to you and say, hey, this is what we expected to happen, this is what has happened, this is why the scope has changed, whatever, before it could go up at all. And I think that's probably what Raines' agreement was. So you had indicated they got paid X amount. Usually, with at least most of our agreements, it's based on 8% of construction for the design part of it, which includes like topographic survey, putting together all the, front-end bid docs, the plans, putting it out to bid, taking the bids, looking at it, making a recommendation to the community, and then getting the contract, executed and agreed upon. That basically is usually a fee. At least that's how I think most of the, consulting engineering world works. And then the construction engineering usually is a new number. And I think that's where Raines is looking at breaking off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense. So is that particular for municipal? That wouldn't be for private clients?
No, I mean, private clients usually, you may or typically don't do, you may or may not do inspection. Usually the community does the inspection. If there's a private development in Gibraltar, for instance, the community oftentimes inspects the storm sewers, the sanitary sewers, the water mains that are constructed. The private developer doesn't hire an inspector.
Right, but in terms of the front-end documents, the topographic surveys, that
Private developments, usually you don't have a full-blown, book that's typically based on MDOT specifications. You have everything pretty much on the plans. It's just two different ways of going.
So
about things.
instead of it being a percentage base and they break down per scope prices, it's really probably generated by a percentage and then backed into that?
I don't know. It's kind of different depending on what the project is, because for private, the scope can be,
Sure.
significant. You might be talking about a 200-home subdivision, or you might be talking about a parking lot in McDonald's. You know what I mean? So it really is a variety of different things.
So, and then in terms of the value, and this isn't entirely directed at you, the back end part is, but if the design engineer earns a percentage of the cost of the contract for producing that front-end product, work product, they also have liability for errors and omissions in that scope of work. And so by approving a payment on a design prior to execution of the work, they might be bypassing the responsibility of ensuring there were no errors and omissions in their work as the work proceeds, something that we certainly want to be cognizant of.
So can I interject here with our city attorney here? That brings us to the transition phase, you know, and so if council does confirm your interim status, and you have to go back and forth with Raines, does Raines charge us for that back and forth? Or are they, so, yeah, right,
And Scott, I think,
yeah,
I think
Can't
you're,
speak on behalf of Raines.
yeah.
this is important for us to think about in the transition, obviously, if you are a future partner, a part that you're gonna be living with us, but obviously, we need
But,
to.
I mean, yeah, but I just want to make clarity, because you're absolutely right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to bounce both ways. But for our city attorney, I think I asked this question this morning, was, is this a friendly transition? And since there's 30 years or so of work product that Raines has accumulated on behalf of the city, and the city, I'm going to say, is pretty minus those work product projects, drawings, files, and all that, do we get those? I mean,
And I, just one caveat, so you're subbing in for Anthony today, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
recognize
I-
you don't have a lot of the background, but just
yeah,
before
I'm
you.
not, I don't want to push against the wall, but these are questions that,
Yeah, we would have to look into that. You'd have to actually look at the contract too. But, you know, they're concerned about their reputation too, so they're likely to work well with the new group, because if they
Yeah,
get a bad reputation for, you know,
is this your first rodeo with a transition?
No,
So do you find most engineering firms are?
Yes.
Are,
absolutely.
And I will say that Scott and I, and John, and Raines were on a call today, which was very productive, video conference, for which one of the conversation points was handoffs, right? Delineating where roles could hand off, as well as information. And Treasurer Fonte,
So-
I asked about that, and we have the liberty to go pick up our
So,
files.
for me, if, as part of the infrastructure committee, if we come out of a committee meeting, we have questions, and it goes back to, obviously, a lot of this is gonna go back to Raines. Do I conduct my business through you, and then you go back to Raines, and I'm paying twice for the information? Or do I go to Raines and get the information, or, because we're gonna have a double dip here for quite a while, the way I'm looking at it, and I don't know if there's any way out of it.
Yeah, I think, and then Scott, I recognize you weren't prepared to come with all these, but this is great that
I
you're here.
wouldn't have
So-
worn shorts.
so-
I didn't know I was gonna be up here.
Half of your pants are burnt now, so.
Treasurer Fonte, what I would suggest is, we're getting the information all together, right? The summary of projects, the handoffs, right? Some of the commentary today in the call was, where do we draw lines?
Right.
Obviously, the city needs to delineate that and work with our city attorney to make sure the funds are not double
I
dipping.
just want to make sure the city attorney knows, but to answer to one of Rob's first concerns, whether you have a percentage of contract, whether you're working by the hour, the idea goes back to the same problem that the treasurer's office and finance had on approving invoices, is who instigated this? Who made these terms? And so on and so forth, you know? So I don't know how it is with your customers or your municipalities now, but there's task orders that could be written. We call them a purchase order here, but Amy could put together a purchase order / task order to John, and if John is gonna contact you for services, you know, we work through this purchase order / task order. That way there, when it becomes approval time for me to sign and the mayor to sign, and the ladies in the office to put together billing, there is an approval process. In the past, we didn't have any of that. We just, somebody bills something, and you run around the office trying to figure out who approved this, and half the time you can't, or nobody will own up to it, and now you're stalled out, and you gotta waste a lot of time with a communication to the engineering firm. So, I think that's what you were going a little bit with it, right, Rob? On who orders the agreements to proceed on something. the other things is the errors and omission clauses that I think is a good point here right now. Who accepts that responsibility?
Especially if you
This-
paid on the front end.
Yeah, this goes back to the attorney that you can put on his things to-do list, but I guess that's it. Otherwise, I know that your firm is well-founded. I've worked with you in the past, worked with the Macomb County Drain Commission with you guys, and so I know what you're about, and I know you've got experience in this field. But to Rob's point, it doesn't take much to put an RFP together to give us a cost for your engineering proposal, basically what you just did here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's no difference, but it's an interim gap. It's a,
Exactly, and I think that's why I just want to say thank you, Scott, for not only being here, but the leading up to this, right? You got immersed in the community and understood the issues, and then worked to have discussions with us on transition considerations. And appreciate your proposal. Made sure council had it. We got work to do before the 11th to make sure we get some of these items further understood that have been raised. And we'll be in touch with you as we lead up to that, because we're hoping to make a decision point for that interim basis on the 11th.
Sounds good. No, and I really appreciate the opportunity. I mean, I should say, the best way is a purchase order. That way, everybody knows exactly what the not to exceed.
we're not inventing the wheel here. It's just
No,
that
no.
previous, we'll call it administrations, just lack that for whatever reason, and we inherited a system that didn't have those checks and balances, so
Yeah,
moving forward, that's the best way.
That's what I want to make sure in whatever decisions and routes that we decide to go. We want to make sure that when we're calling and requesting services, we know who in our office is able to call and request services. Do they have approval to request services? Once a billing clock starts, is it when a resident calls you and you start working on something, but nobody in the city has information? And yeah, the purchase order is a huge help on that, and we're going to try and implement that. But I don't think our goal ultimately is simply seeking the cheapest alternatives. We want flow of communication. We want to be able to provide good services to our stakeholders at a fair value. And we want to make sure that we're budgeted for it, and we foresee the expenses that are coming in, and we're not running around looking for where did this come from.
Sure. Yeah, and one thing I've seen communities do, almost every community that we are, the engineers for, they create one general number that might be something like $10,000 a year. Because there's gonna be times where somebody, like, let's say it's John, is the person that AEW reports to. He's gonna wanna call and consult about something that none of us can predict right now, right? Pump broke down or whatever. And so that's just like a little, like I said, $10,000, $5,000, whatever the community chooses. In other words, you don't want to have to create a new job, new purchase order for every single time before you call somebody, right? As long as it's an amount that everybody's comfortable with as just for general, unique little situations. But if you start talking about repaving a road or doing a sidewalk program or lining sewers or whatever it is, then you say, okay, we're gonna create a project, we agree it's $20,000 or whatever, you issue a PO, we put that right on our invoice. And also, on that general number, typically what we do is we put for our timesheets, when I fill out a timesheet, I say, I worked a half an hour on, 186, 434, or whatever, and this is what I did. I went out and measured the side lot line for a house. And we include those comments right in the invoice, so that you see, basically, doesn't have the person's name, but it has their classification and what they did. Mm-hmm. Because when it gets to general stuff, like, you really do end up doing a lot of little nuance type stuff. But that kind of covers the things that are hard to explain.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna exceed this without coming back to you guys.
Sure, and everybody deserves to be paid for their work, and
Yeah.
no doubt about it. We just want to make sure that we're prepared for it.
Exactly, and you don't wanna tie up, John and purchasing and everything every time he wants to make a phone call.
But there is a fee for that, right?
There is a fee for that, no doubt
So
about it.
is it something that you want to reinvent with engineering going forward that you do with our attorney? You get a retention for so much, and anybody can make calls and up to a point until it becomes a project for relining or sewers or whatever the case. Otherwise, then you're gonna have to designate certain people to make the calls, because the clock's gonna tick, no matter who it is.
Well, again, we've talked about this at length, and when we brought John on, we talked about the role of internal engineer. Not every time we need engineering, does it need to be from a certified, PE, or civil engineer, I'm
And
sorry.
I don't think we're gonna change our stripes on that. We're gonna proceed the same way until it gets to, but there's gonna be questions to ask.
Sure.
So if, like Scott said, the clock's gonna tick for all these little nuances, and there's gonna be a lot of them, I would suspect, for a while here, while the transition occurs. And then John is just getting settled in, so he's getting to know things a little bit better, and he'll be digging in even deeper, and he's gonna have to have consultation to a lot of that effect. So I'm just throwing that out. Do you want a retainer type situation that gives you so much? I don't even know if you guys deal with that, or you just keep it strictly on a T&M basis for the
Well,
little
yeah,
things.
I heard him mention that.
Yeah, that's the best
budget
practice he has in
that,
other communities.
Yeah.
Scott, you sparked some really good discussion in the context of what we just raised. It's up to us to further some information there on our end. We'll be in touch with you directly as we go through that process, and then we'll convene on a decision point on August 11th, which is our next council meeting.
Sounds great.
Appreciate it.
If I come back, I swear I'll have slacks.
No, you're
I'm wearing shorts too, there's no judgment here.
dressed appropriately.
Properly dressed.
I appreciate that. Great discussion, council. Thank you all for the feedback.
Thank you.
Next topic on my agenda, any further questions, comments on engineering? Next topic on my agenda is HVAC. Council, in your packets, I want to call your attention to a couple things. One is, I have been informed of concerns around our maintenance agreement that we have with our HVAC. And that's been documented through some of our experience challenges. With that being said, I did consult our city attorney, and our agreement with Allied allows us a 15-day notice without cause or no notice with cause. And obviously, they'd be compensated for the work they've performed. So, council, I'm looking for your motion, but the bid opening that we went through led to 7 different bids being received. As you look at the bids that we evaluated, that you previously authorized for the agreement we have, Allied was the lowest bidder at $27,050 in total 4-year cost forecast. The next lowest bidder was Rolls Mechanic at $39,800. So I wanted to just flag that for you all. Council, the action obviously lies in your court. You could do 2 things tonight. You could motion to terminate. I would recommend without cause for the sake of the 15-day transition period, and we would allow us to close out all of our work. You could do that motion, and that would thus kick in our ability to notice Allied. You could also motion to authorize the pursuit of another agreement, and we obviously have all the bids that we went through. Or you could just do the motion to end our agreement with Allied, and we could revisit the authorization of the new service next council meeting, which would be August 11th. So just want to put that in your court. That's all the information I want to assemble for you. This is a topic we discussed last time. I want to make sure you're fully informed of where we're at. And that's the situation at hand, and motion will be in your court if you so chose.
I'll make the motion to recommend terminating Allied's without cause and providing that 15-day window.
Great, thank you, Councilman Molnar.
Second that motion.
We have a second by McNabb. Any discussion? Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll. Actually, before you do that, sorry. So, Council, I think we are in a situation where you could either now go to a motion to authorize another service provider, or we could wait and make that authorization at the next council meeting, which is ironically still close to within that 15-day period. Clerk Tomasic, the call is yours.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion carried, so we'll go ahead and notify Allied of the termination of our agreement with that 15-day notice.
A couple of things that I can just think of off the top of my head on this subject at moment's notice here is that we've had good experience thus far, I think, with Expert Mechanical.
Yes.
And they've been good by us, but they're not on this list. Something to consider. Rolls Mechanical, who was number 2, I worked with them a ton out in Oakland County, and they were pretty terrific to work with out there. But those are my two comments, that
I love that.
Rolls has been a pretty good contractor that I've known for a long time. I don't know anybody there personally, I just worked alongside their guys, and Expert Mechanical has done pretty good by us.
That's great. Well, now that we have a 15-day notice window,
Have a tick here to reset all the electronics because the phones are out and so on. And if he does that, they're gonna lose the live feed for this.
okay.
So he's looking for advice.
So we're in a situation where either, do we have 911 support right now?
I don't know. You want me to ask?
I'm so sorry, public. It's just a matter we need to take care of in City Hall. Pardon me.
Could we go to, expert,
That was my time.
or we have to rebid it?
Probably hit the microphone.
Yeah.
I'll make I'm sorry. We still have a quorum, I think. I'll make a motion to have a 5-minute recess approximately, and we'll call back to order momentarily.
Well,
They're back.
Rescind that motion.
Listen,
I rescind my motion.
yeah, Dorothy stepped away.
Members of public, I apologize. We just had to address a time-sensitive matter. Everything is fine. Everybody is safe and sound. No issue to be escalated. With that being said, Councilwoman Wood, maybe perhaps she outside?
My assumption is she ran to the
A
restroom.
little bio break?
Yeah.
All right, great. So with that being said, is anybody else in need of a bio break? And if not, we can keep moving and allow her to come back in here in a moment.
No, I know Mr. Sant just asked the question. I'll just keep some discussion going for a moment, if that's all right.
Please.
If we could sign up with Expert, and I guess what I would recommend is that we simply ask them for a bid similar to the RFP that we sent out in December 19th, 24.
I like it.
And, you know, I don't think they're gonna be privy to the information that was on this unless they do some serious homework, and, I mean, we could always ask for a rebid from specific contractors that we are favorable of on here.
Yeah.
And, but I don't think it would take too much for us to give them the RFP from last year and ask them to bid it.
City Attorney, what's your perspective if you have anyone? Any issue with that? If not, we can take it as a follow-up if you're not ready to deliver guidance here.
I think you gotta put it out for a bid, period. You
I was
can't.
gonna say, we had a closing date for that bid, and they didn't get in before that closing date, so,
So we'd have to put out another bid is what you're suggesting
Yeah.
procedurally. Rob, and we could include obviously an outreach to Expert amongst others. We could leverage the existing paperwork. That's the
Right
good
on.
part about it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So we had sorry, Katie, just as we get back to our procedural, we had a motion that was carried
Yes.
for the authorization of terminating with a 15-day notice. So I'll make sure I take care of that as a follow-up to our meeting. Council will work with you all on making sure we open up the bid inclusive of Expert outreach. And then hopefully we can get this ball moving quickly so we have minimal gap in our HVAC maintenance. Sound good? All right. Next item on my report this evening is West Jefferson Water Main. Councilman Cox, please keep me honest here, and Treasurer Fonte, because you've been close to this with me. John, that includes you as well. At a high level, I'll say kind of the takeaway. Fishbeck, we kicked off the work. Exciting news for simple terms is West Jefferson Water Main has been a water main that's presented many issues and breaks for us. We got $1 million, as we discussed early in this administration, to support replacing that main. And when we looked at the kickoff meeting with Fishbeck, who we authorized to do this work, we ended up with a situation where it's a large, extensive main, and our dollars would only cover a certain portion of it. And so with that being said, Councilman Cox and Treasurer Fonte and I and John were discussing with Fishbeck, what would it take to get the whole thing done? If we're gonna be doing the work, Fishback already isolated a portion of it, that was kind of the worst case scenario, and the worst conditions. Let's try and get it all done. Council, the short story here is I want to bring this to your attention because Fishback has came back to us with a proposal to, I would say, get the design rolling on getting it all done. And Councilman Cox, maybe I can turn over to you to give a little more perspective on the subject matter that you are.
No, well, yes, we requested from Fishbeck, the costs associated based on the $1 million grant. They gave us a footage that could be completed on that. There's obviously additional footage that needs to be done on that system. So the discussion that's been had is, do we spend that money up front for the design and going forward with that, knowing that we only have so much to spend out of a grant? We're going to absorb those costs in the future if we only do half the main and then have to come back and do it again. So right now is when you're going to receive the best costs in this current date and time. So the consideration of that is what we've been discussing, and I think that's what the mayor is putting in front of us right now.
Precisely. So with that being said, council, in your packet, what they've done is they've submitted that proposal and contract amendment form requesting the fee increase to Task 1 grant application, Task 2 design and bidding to cover the additional approximately 1,626 feet of water main. The requested fee increase of $60,500 will bring the total of Task 1 and Task 2 to $210,000. So that'll take the previously approved $149,500, and it will add the increase, $60,500, to accommodate that remaining portion.
Now, if you look at those numbers that he just talked about, if we were to just award the single project at the $149,000 cost that we have now, you could be assured that we're going to have a $149,000 cost on the next 1,600 feet. Well, a $60,000 cost is a much better value than 3 times that.
Precisely. So that's the full circle kind of simple synopsis. Of course, everything comes when we talk about dollars with the consultation of Finance Director McEwen, who has expressed her support of pursuing this. So, council, I'm bringing this to you because I'd like to make sure that I could get a motion to authorize the requested increase of $60,500 in addition to the already approved $149,500. Treasurer Fonte?
Yeah, let me add that this will give us the opportunity to put the whole project out for bid. Council will have the discretion in the budgetary numbers then to make that decision. In the meantime, as this takes off into fruition, there are grants that Fishback is going to be looking for to see if we can incorporate and add to this, but at least we'll have the design in place, and the proposals that will go out to the contractors might, we might obtain some really good pricing on it to where it might be attractive to do it, and the financing might not be that bad to get, so I think it's a good move.
Well said. And then the last thing I'll comment on is that there's a time-sensitive element here in a way because they need to get this authorization or not so they can progress the project application and design. So that's why we're coming to you. So council, I'd be looking for a motion to authorize the additional $60,500, bringing the total of Task 1 and Task 2 to $210,000.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Is it just the approval of that extra funding or the approval and execution of this proposal?
I was gonna approve the funding first.
Okay, I do.
And then, yeah.
Motion was
yeah,
made
so-
on.
Yeah, thank you, but we could do it all in one if you prefer.
Oh, I don't have.
I'll make the motion that you had stated out loud about the funding first.
So there's a motion to approve the $60,500 increase. Clerk Tomasic, I can repeat that language if you need any clarity on wording.
Second?
We have a second by Councilman Cox. And is there any discussion on this matter beyond what we've already covered today? Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll whenever you are ready.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood? Yes. Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Now that we have the approval of the additional fund unlock, I'd be looking for a motion for us to authorize signature on this proposal in your packet.
I'll make a motion for the mayor to execute the contract based on the additional design for the 1,626 additional feet of water main for South Gibraltar Road.
Appreciate the description.
Second that motion.
Second by McNabb. Clerk Domestic, I know that was a lot of words. Did you got it? All right. We'll have you call roll whenever you're ready. Oh, sorry. I need discussion, please.
It looks like this is a very basic amendment to the existing contract. It doesn't look like it changes any other terms or conditions. It's simply talking about the scope of the amendment. That's it.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this matter? Clerk Domestic, whenever you're ready, we'll give it to you for roll.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulner?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, council, for the support on that. It's exciting. It'll be the third water main project we're getting to work on, so I'm really excited for this one especially. Obviously, as Councilman Cox had highlighted, this is going to allow the design and obviously the efficiencies there, and we'll come back to council with more updates on the progress of the project. Next item, I just want to maybe kick this over. John, you can kind of give a lot more background, but the next item is just I want to make sure that you had for your review the payment application number 1 and change order number 1 for CE Rains related to the lead run replacement. John, I know you commented on this previously with council. I don't think we need any action here. It was more just an update on.
The change order amount went down from the original one.
Yeah, so basically, simply put, you had reviewed this previously, council, and approved change order, and the number had dropped, so I want to make sure I brought that back to you just for an update.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add additionally, John, there, while we're on the topic of lead lines?
That line works complete for now with the list that we had.
So the good news is that project is coming to completion from an operational perspective, but obviously then, as I alluded to earlier, Rains is responsible for the
Raines is gonna go out and do the punch list.
inspections and punch list, and then obviously that will lead to the billing finalization. But good news is that change order number dropped.
Yes.
Any questions, comments?
Do we know of any other lead services that need to be addressed? Have we gotten any feedback from citizens on the pictures that we requested?
I think we got 5 more on Horse Island.
There's 5 more services there?
Yeah. I think a total of 5 right now.
Absolute's going to perform those?
No, we haven't, we wanna do more.
Investigation?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they going to remain under contract?
We can keep the retention. He said he'd come back.
So is the contract concluded?
He has performed what was outlined in the contract, or what we've given him to perform.
Yes.
So, just so council knows that we've instituted payment waivers for material and workmanship. I think I'm pretty fair in saying that this hasn't been done before, that we've put out checks from the city to contractors without waivers of lien. And so we've instituted a partial waiver, which means that the job isn't complete. So there would be a completed payment forthcoming. So I think it's important that if we feel we've got good pricing here, that we keep the contract open.
That's exactly,
I think that's where you're going, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do we do that? I don't think you need,
I don't think we need any action. I think we keep the contract open.
but in Quality's eyes, is it gonna be open, or are they gonna say?
I'll reach out, have a conversation with,
I talked to Marvin, he said he didn't have an issue with it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
like that strategy.
If we hold them down to 5%.
yeah, we reduce the retention to 5%.
Okay.
That way the contract's open, and as we, you know,
Then you can pay them
This-
down on another partial waiver.
we have until March, I believe, March or May to spend this grant money, correct? Of 26?
I believe so.
Okay.
But with the engineering and everything, I think we're gonna have burned through quite a bit of it.
Yeah, I think we're cranking through the funds that we've been allocated quite significantly.
Have we hit the quantity that we need for the, I think there was 40 of them we had to hit, or a certain amount that we had to keep track of? Have we struck that?
Yeah, I think we have.
We have, and we talked to,
We've hit the state minimum
Okay.
requirement number.
and the nice part is just for, since it's relevant to the topic really quickly, the new water license holder we have, We had a call with them as well for transition with Reigns. This was a deep dive topic. Things like prevailing wage and other considerations are now top of the mind for them to make sure they're resolved effectively in this handoff, so. Well,
Is there grant money still available? I think, John, you and I were talking that might have dried up, or,
I think it dried up.
yeah,
I think we've, yeah, used the majority of those funds, if not all.
okay.
But before we proceed farther, I'd like to get all the invoices in. I've been getting invoices from Rains,
Yep.
okay? But see how much we have left. If anything, if we got some money to burn up, we can go out and do some more inventory.
All right, so
Yeah,
the idea would, go ahead.
I'd like to know what the balance of the grant is
Yeah.
left,
Yep.
right? And then try to implement that we get those, whatever additional services we can up to that
So,
grant at a minimum.
As a city, what are we obligated to do if the grant runs out? We've fulfilled our contract, right? And there's more lead lines. It just stops? I think
No, I think the right thing to do is to pursue the replacement of known lead lines. I think the beauty is we got $400,000 in grant to help with that financially.
Yeah.
If we have to go over and above, I'd recommend we pursue the remaining lead lines to
Okay.
get them replaced.
I would too, and pursue additional grant funding
Right,
that
and-
could
and-
support that.
running side by side, okay.
It's a great thing for the community. I mean, if you look at how many lead lines have just been replaced, it's significant, and the work was, relatively speaking, quite quick to turn
Yes.
over. So just thank you to the team that's came over. Thank you, John, above and beyond.
We know this,
for this
we
work.
know of one on Jefferson. We pulled that off the list
Oh, the long one.
because it's gonna be on the water main project.
Exactly.
I figured, why have him go over and do that, and then we're gonna be doing it again.
Agreed.
Plus, that's an old main down there, so at least you go down there and play with it. Okay,
We're liable to cause more disruption.
yes.
Agreed. Great feedback, great discussion. So again, no action required on that, but the net of it is your change order amount you approved has gone down. Good news. Last items for me is just my administrative updates. I won't go into too much detail. Just two things I want to flag here for you. One of which I want your support. I don't think we technically need your authorization, but I'd love a motion to support it. With this being the AT&T contract. So Amy and I have been deep diving, learning more about AT&T and service lines than we ever thought we would in our lives. The high-level summary. Our former city administrator, who's no longer here, had started a process and dialogue with AT&T that was left open and not closed to completion. Amy and I dove in. What happened? We have POTS, which are plain old telephone service lines that were associated with our elevator, our alarm, and a couple lines in the community center. Amy, keep me accurate here.
Fax lines.
Fax lines, great. So there's some lines that needed to be converted, updated from an infrastructure perspective to maintain them and the service supporting them. Why am I giving you all this background? Amy and I got really good contact established in getting the new lines put in with the right teams and the right contracts. What happened was, during this transition of our previous personnel, the previous contract, our legacy contract, was not executed with AT&T. These are existing lines we have today. Amy and I got flagged because our bill spiked significantly with AT&T because the legacy contract wasn't executed. This should have been executed a while ago. It was not. It's a part of this transition window that Amy and I are now navigating. We have to sign our legacy agreement. We have this in writing. We've gotten the attorney involved. The AT&T personnel will reimburse us for the difference, meaning that spike in our bill, because we didn't have an active contract, we'll be reimbursed for, but we have to sign the legacy contract in order to be reimbursed. So all I'm asking for you, council, is to motion so that I can sign this agreement. It's a legacy agreement with AT&T that allows us to get the money back for this spiked bill, which will then be a moot point because that agreement will be terminated when we get these new lines in. Now, that's a detailed explanation, but as simple as I can put it. Amy, keep me honest. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, and we keep hitting little speed bumps, so hopefully we'll be able to get the new agreement in place sooner rather than later, but
So I just want to come to you. I was going to sign it last week, but I figured it'd be best to put this in front of council. Again, it's a legacy agreement that we had in place. We need to sign it to get our money back, and we have it in writing that once we sign it, we'll get our money back.
Motion to approve executing this legacy agreement.
Motion by Molnar, is there a second?
Second.
don't know who you got first, Katie.
Walden?
Any discussion on that matter? Clerk Tomasic will have you call a roll whenever you are ready.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb? Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. Thank you, council. Motion carried. Last thing for me, and then I'm gonna turn over to our council reports, is, I know you got this via email from Clerk Tomasic, but a huge win for the city of Gibraltar, related to our water loss percentage. And I just wanna give a special shout out to Chelsea, to our infrastructure advisory committee, all of the members that made this possible, to Benish, who's our water consultant. Just the headline here, over the past five quarters, our water loss had consistently exceeded 30%. This most recent reading, our water loss has dropped to 13% as a community. That is massive, massive. Huge win for the city of Gibraltar, took an army, shout out to Treasurer Fonte, for really advocating in this lane. Shout out to all council for pursuing this water loss consultant. Shout out to Benish for doing that work. Shout out to Chelsea for all the work she does day in, day out on the water side. Shout out to DPW and all the work they did in integrating with this process. That is a huge win for Gibraltar. A massive problem we had is now, from a data perspective, I mean, just look at the math. Over 30% for 5 quarters and down to 13%. Obviously, this is an initial read. I'm not trying to get ahead of the ball here. I wanted to share that with the community and council and give a shout out to those that made that possible. The work continues. We have our new water license holder, excited about that. Part of Benish. Benish will come back with proposals for phase 2 of the project, which is where we're gonna look at like unmetered usage, better, the accounting and analytics behind this entire process, but huge win. Obviously, we have some work to do with council on what we do with that discrepancy, meaning we've dropped this. Part of it might have been related to, obviously, the Brownstown meter replacement and other elements of this whole multivariable equation. So we're dissecting it, but just want to share a huge win and congratulate the team. Thank you so much for all the work that got us there.
Mayor?
Yeah, please.
May I, if this continues, if this trend continues and it goes for a couple more quarters, this is going to support the reconciling of the past invoices that we've had. I know you mentioned that, but I think it's important for the community. This is a process. This is one step in the process to get this information. Keep our fingers crossed, and if we can duplicate this and even do better over the next quarters, it's going to give us a whole lot of support to go back to GLEWA and ask for what should be due us.
Well said. Incredibly exciting moment. So thank you to all that made it possible. With that, I will close my report and turn it over to our council reports. Councilman Valentine is not with us this evening, so I would turn over to Councilwoman Wood for Beautification and Historical Museum.
Okay, beautification, every year, well, except during COVID, we give out a beautification award at the end of the year. It'd be our last council meeting that we give that out. And so what we're looking for is people to nominate themselves, neighbors, whatever, who has a beautiful front yard. There's only short requirements are required. Our front yards only and not done by a professional. So whoever is working in their yard and it's beautiful, we want to take a picture of it and then, have people nominate other neighbors or nominate themselves. But we would like to hand out an award. We usually give 1 or 2 at the end of the year. So we're looking for people to go out and start looking for beautiful front yards. That's it for beautification, and our Gibraltar Historical Museum is open Sunday from 2 to 4. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilwoman Wood. Any questions for Councilwoman Wood?
Is that the, like, we talked about this in the planning commission meetings and the ZBA, is that for the waterfront houses, is the front yard, the street side or the water side?
We would consider the water side like your backyard, because we have to go through your yard to see it. We want people to be able to see it from the street.
Okay,
So
so no
street
canal
side.
cruises?
Pardon?
No canal cruising for this?
Right. So nominate yourself, nominate a neighbor, whatever.
Street-facing yards are eligible.
No, this is great. I will say that from both sides, the community is looking really, really good right now. From the canal side, we've taken a couple cruises over the last week or two, and the yards are really, really looking nice. And same thing on the roadside. Everybody's doing a pretty darn good job lately, so it's looking really nice.
All said.
So, let me get this straight, just the roadside?
Just the roadside, because we don't want to have people go through your yard, to get into the backyard, or if you consider the water your front yard, we
Yeah.
want it to be the street.
You can't put them on
Pardon?
you can't put them on a boat and let them go,
I suggest a pontoon boat.
Yeah,
I think we know
Well,
some
if you-
people that own one.
yeah.
That's amazing. Any further questions for Councilman Wood?
I don't know, there's some sharp-looking canal side yards, so.
There are.
Yeah.
I give you that. This year has been really, I don't know if it's the weather, whatever, but people have just been out and working, and it does look great in our city.
A lot of people keep the front the way it is because of the tax man.
All right, any further questions for Councilman Wood? Thank you for all you're doing, and I agree, this city looks beautiful, so appreciate all the work.
Thank you.
Councilman Cox, floor is yours.
Just a couple items to discuss. Planning Commission wise, there wasn't anything on the agenda. We did some training and revisited some things. DDA side of it, we received and filed an updated, or the fiscal year 2025, 2026 DDA budget as of the 7/10, and we approved a request by our Director of Public Safety for the Avalon camera systems for the community center, the DPW, the City Hall, and to integrate those systems all as one. So the DDA approved that at the last meeting. That's my report.
Thank you, Councilman Cox. Any questions for Councilman Cox? Councilman McNabb?
Mayor, Council, the only report I have is we will be working on the back panels for the range lights, putting new vinyl, and that's all I have for my report.
I appreciate you and the whole Waterways Commission for all the work you're doing and leveraging the weed harvester to help
Well, yeah,
manage the
those
weeds.
guys have been doing really well,
Really appreciate it a lot.
and lucky the machine's still running.
Yes, absolutely. Any questions for Councilman McNabb? Councilman Molnar, floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only item that I have here is to talk about the approval of the scope of work from Double Hall Solutions. We've talked about this at our last couple of meetings, where we're at in the search for a full-time city administrator. And last meeting, we approved the expenditure of $12,500 for an abbreviated scope of work. Earlier today, myself, the mayor, and our treasurer had a nice phone call conversation with the CEO of Double Hall Solutions, and he created a hybrid solution for us to look at and provided an updated scope of services for that. That hybrid scope of work, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that was on that call, the hybrid scope of work is taking all of the applications that we received from our posting, as well as additional, what was the word that they used?
The word I used was residual.
Residual.
They had a different name for it.
Yeah, so residual candidates from other postings that DHS has put out for similar positions where the folks have not been placed in employment elsewhere. So putting those, our applicants, our full applicant pool, along with some residual candidates from DHS's recent searches, and they're going to narrow that down to a scope of however many fit past their vetting for us to consider past that. That price is $13,250. In terms of the duration of how long they thought it would take, if all things go perfect, we talk about 3 weeks. If things delay past that, it could be 5 to 8 weeks, or it could, if we end up, saying this pool's not sufficient and we want to dig deeper, it could take certainly longer. We'd have to revise the scope of work and the expenditures associated with that. So what I'm asking for here today is to approve Double Haul Solutions for $13,250 to interview all of the applicants that submitted to us from our recent posting, as well as a handful of their residual applicants, and take their recommendations and consider them accordingly. So any questions that come up, I'm happy to answer best I can.
I think, thank you, Councilman Molnar, for the overview. I think one thing we talked about was obviously the interviews we've already held and the short list of candidates we've arrived at, and the importance of having them understand the pool we've came from, at the pool that they've had exposure to at large, as you highlighted, residual applicants. I think a couple things that I had discussed in that meeting with them, and I think Councilman Molnar, Rich, and I are aligned as we come to you today, is, we recognize that we don't have somebody in that position, and that we want to act with a sense of urgency, but we want to do this right, not rushed, and make sure we leverage this third party as experts to really get their eyes on this, to vet our shortlist, to vet the other candidates that they've seen, so that we can make the right decision here. That's kind of one, and I think Councilman Molnar hit it, which is Nate, the CEO, emphasized that they can act expeditiously, 3 weeks, for example, up to more weeks, depending on the process, to do a couple things. One was to interview council members individually and at large, as well as department heads and personnel, to make sure they really understand the true needs and where things have gone right and where things have gone wrong and how that relates to the hire we need to make. I think the second thing I really liked about it was the package, the $13,250, because obviously we don't want to spend money unnecessarily, was not just about helping us get to the right candidate, but Councilman Molnar and I and Rich also talked to Nate about it comes with executive coaching once you've found the right candidate, as you on-ramp them to the role, which I thought was really cool, as well as it comes with a 6-month guarantee on their services. So obviously, Double Haul Solutions is confident that what they're delivering is a long-term solution, hopefully, for the community, and the 6-month guarantee, obviously, is a financial hook on that long-term guarantee. 6 months guarantee, that is. So Councilman Molnar, I think you're spot on. I just want to add that color. Those are things that were important to me as far as the investment we're making, doing this right, not rush, but still acting with a sense of urgency to get somebody in that role, given our situation.
Yeah, and I know I'm certainly guilty of it in my own business, is that when I'm in a rush, if you will, we end up assigning characteristics to people that may not actually be there, or missing ones that if we sat down and took the proper time to look at, we would see. And so this is the right, not rushed approach, I think. They have a decent track record of business. They are HR gurus. They know what they're looking for. They know what they ask. They can ask. They know the processes, and these are things that we don't individually have. We might be good at certain scopes of our business, but none of us are purporting to be HR specialists, and we don't have anybody on staff or standby for that. So it's a pretty good opportunity to have these folks vet our applicant pool, and another part of their revised proposal, which we can talk about now if you wish, or offline and bring it up at the next meeting, but that was the concept of them providing some interim services for us, and I will leave that up to you if you want to discuss that at the meeting now, or you want to do that throughout the course of the week and bring it up maybe at our next council meeting.
I think we should bring that up on August 11th as we progress this initial 2-week kind of on-ramp.
Okay, yep, very well. So that would be my recommendation, is approval of the scope of work for $13,250 with Double Haul Solutions.
And Finance Director McKeon, I know you were consulted on this, but I want to make sure that you have no objection to that. Okay.
Not at all.
Great, okay.
Is there a motion that's
We need a motion.
required here, or is that your motion, Rob?
I would recommend it since it's a difference in price between the two.
Yeah, so let's get a motion per Councilman Molnar's suggestion for the $13,250. Unless you want to make that motion personally.
Oh, I have no problem. Yes, I'll make that motion.
Can you repeat it,
Yes,
please?
I make the motion to expend $13,250 with Double Haul Solutions for performing the scope of work provided both in their proposal and follow it up with the email that if you have not received it, I'll forward to you.
Motion by Councilman Molnar. Is there a second? And let's make sure Clerk Tomasic has that language, okay? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Cox. Council, any further discussion on this? I know there was a lot of intro info, but I think it's important for everybody to have.
Well, this is a total price of 13,000. That's what the proposal's at. Did we already authorize an amount for them? So is this just an amended difference?
Correct, I'm sorry, yes. So we approved the expenditure of 12,500 at last meeting, and this is 13,250, and so it's
So an extra
750.
750?
Correct, yes.
Motion to add $750 to them.
That's the ultimate, well, the other thing, as Clerk Tomasic pointed this out, that this motion approves the scope of work.
Yeah.
That's delineated in their proposal, whereas the last one 2 weeks ago approved the expenditure, but really didn't have a
Design
defined scope of work, correct?
Correct.
And that's the scope of work that's in their everyone's packets?
Yes, so it's the scope of work provided in the packets. There's three separate items in there. This is a modified version that I just forwarded to you. The only update in the scope of work is that it takes all of our applicants that submitted to us, and it takes residual applicants from DHS previous job postings.
So materially still aligned with the scope of work that we have, just the adjustment of the data they're pulling in, basically, and the timeline that they have.
Do you want me to word that for you for the meeting minutes?
Well, I'm not, just my concern is, we don't have that scope of work yet.
This is, I just forwarded it to you, again, for the benefit of our voting members here. The scope of work only changes by increasing the amount of applicants that they're going to vet, and providing the guarantee that is associated with the second two scopes of work that were proposed in that.
I think the record captures the specifics that we just discussed, hopefully, for council. But if council has any objections, please. We're just trying to act with a sense of urgency, and I know that proposal just came through, I believe, as we were walking in or close to it.
So just for clarification, when you say the application pool, are we talking about the entire pool that we have pulled from every outreach and not just the candidates that we may have shortlisted?
Correct.
Okay, so
They-
there's a lot of people that they're going to be.
We emphasize, exactly, so we emphasize that we have a short list, right? And it's not, it's public information, right? Jim and Jason and others have shortlisted, right, to our process. And we emphasize that we've arrived at what we feel is a short list through the interview process. But Double Hull Solutions will take, to your exact point, the broader pool that we have all screened and vetted. And they're aware that we've already done interviews. They'll take that plus their own residual candidates, meaning other cities they've hired a candidate. There might have been numbers 2 through 5 that didn't get hired that might still be out there in the market, right? They'll take all of that information, make sure they screen it all, so they know what we have on a short list, what the broader pool was, and then obviously help to advance those steps accordingly.
I just wanted that clarification because we just kept using, you know, the pool and I just wanted to have the definitive.
The other really nice part about this, and Mayor touched on it briefly, is the 3 months of executive coaching and the 6-month guarantee. This is something that with whoever that candidate is, they're going to have a ton of resources available to them, and really set up for success. And that's I think probably the most important thing is that when we bring somebody in, they're gonna have a lot of things to work on. We've talked about it before, about the stuff still on the desk and the condition of the office that was left in. There's a lot of open items, and being able to have the resources of that coaching, is something above and beyond. There's a value above and beyond, there that I don't think is quantified easily.
Plus, I thought one of the key components they did is that they want to do a deep dive into our charter and our understanding. They claim we're unique. There's some communities that are similar, but we kind of hold a special uniqueness to them, which is interesting, which I think they'll vet this whole thing, and I think to Councilman Molnar's point, their business is set up for success. They don't offer these guarantees and other matters here, taking it lightly. Their business and their recommendations from other clients is built on success. So,
Good discussion. Any further comments or questions?
I'd just like to reiterate that we do have a couple of really good applicants and appreciate them following up and staying with us. And this is for the benefit of our entire community. So thank you for your patience, and we're getting pretty close.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly to that point, and we've emphasized the next steps include obviously connection with the internal members, but also connection with the existing pool as we go through this process from Double Hall themselves. Any further comments, questions? Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll whenever you're ready.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes, motion is carried. And Councilman Mueller, anything else on your end?
The last thing I just thinking of is that I know we have a bunch of graduation parties throughout the summer, and had the fortune to be at one for Cameron Lazinski over the last weekend, and it's pretty cool to see how many kids from our neighborhood all hang out together, and several of them are working on what their next step is going to be, whether it's school or careers. And seeing some of these young men and women from our community going into welding and pipe fitting and electricians and some off to college, it's pretty cool, pretty exciting to see and be part of, and yeah, it's just encouraging. So, just a little side note.
Love it. Any questions for Councilman Molnar? All right, Councilman Walden, take us home.
I have no report.
Any questions for Councilman Walden? All right, floor is going to now be turned over to our Parks and Recreation Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I really don't have much of a report this time either. I know we're going to be discussing, I think, janitorial at the community centers, and I'm fully supportive of that. So once we get to that topic, I can come back up here or anything, but that's something that I think we're looking to do, and I'm definitely in support of that. But that's all I got this time.
Any questions for Parks and Recreation Director?
I do, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Just seeing you just reminded me of this. If you don't have the answer, please tell me. You'll get back when the appropriate information is received and went through. But this year's 4th of July festivities, do we have a tally on what our expenses versus income has tallied up to?
I can get that for you.
Okay.
I don't have it on hand right now, but I've got
had-
all that information.
I've had at least 2 residents ask me that question. I told them I would follow up, and so I will be looking to catch up with you over the course of the next 2 weeks and see if we can tally it up so I can respond accordingly.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, but it was awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Well, we'll take your recommendation on the janitor, which is under John's report. So if we need you back up here, we'll get you back up here. But
Got
thanks
it.
for all that you and the commissioner are doing.
Yep.
City Attorney, I know you're filling in, but anything you'd like to share with us this evening?
I do not have anything to report.
Any questions for our City Attorney representative today beyond what's already been discussed? All right, well, now the floor is to our DPW Director, Mr. Sant. So we'll give you the floor here.
All right. The Infrastructure Committee, they met last Thursday. I provided them an update of the items I've been working on. Asphalt paving, talked with Rains today. They just got the contract books back from the contractor. They are going through them. Lead line replacement, work was completed last week. They did 28 of the original 30. We have 2 on Island Drive that we put on hold. They also did 6 of the 8 additional services we found. There was one on Lowell we removed because it's an empty lot. And on West Jefferson, we pulled that one out because that line's gonna be, when new water line comes in, it'll be replaced. We did get some photos back from Horse Island on the 20 residents we notified. And Bill's going through all them photos now. DPW is gonna be replacing the sanitary sewer line at the community center starting tomorrow. Walkway bridge, contractors gathering their bonds and insurance information to submit. Collins Engineering is gonna be starting bridge inspections next week on the 8 city bridges. We talked about the water main project. I did get RFQs out for service contracts for electrical, plumbing, and tree removal. And we do have the City Hall roof bid pack out, and bids are due the 8th. We'll start working on the concrete asphalt repairs and replacements. I just got a bunch of information from Rains. And then I was gonna put together an RFQ for repainting the EFS system here at City Hall on the outside. It's the front lighthouse and 5 dugouts. I'm waiting on a price from Kennedy Industries for a replacement pump for the Bayview lift station. Expert Mechanical was out and replaced the gas valve on a domestic water boiler and cleaned the tubes and performed all the safety checks on both hot water boilers. In a couple other updates, ball field dugouts, field improvements, just waiting for the painter to finish up. He's donating his labor and materials, so I'm not pushing him that hard to finish up. He has it on the list. Field improvements, we awarded the grant money got the grant money for the field, for the side fences. That's gonna be industrial. We talked about the bridges, water loss investigation. I'm gonna start working on the DPW generator, trying to get RFQ out. What we have is we got 2 generators. We've got a CAT generator over at the pump station and a Cummings generator here at City Hall. So I'd like to stick with having them guys give us a price for DPW building, instead of getting a 3rd type of generator in here. Then we've got a task for council to follow up on, is we've got roof gutters at the Talbert Center. We talked about RFP for engineering, concrete work at water main breaks, I gotta work on that, and crack sealing at Island Estates. We'd like to get the second part completed.
And I know on that note, Amy, our finance director, had reviewed some of the financial capacity we have around some of the road work, which I think was inclusive of not only road repairs, but some of this other work that you just discussed. So we'll make sure that's a follow-up, but the funds seem to be potentially available to unlock some of that work whenever we're ready to get to work.
All right.
I have one question, and that is, could we consider, as Mr. Fulmer mentioned, the water main at the intersection of Point and Stowfoot, where the gravel is of lasting concern there? Could we consider a change order with the low bidder that we contracted with?
I asked him to do one item where we replaced the water line to a resident's house
Yeah.
to fix her driveway. He didn't do it.
You're talking Al's Asphalt, the parking lot?
Oh, Hal's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have him get a
I
change
love
order
that.
request.
Yeah, I would think it might be a little bit more up their scope because they are self-performing, probably. The other ones
Yeah.
are probably subbing, I would imagine that scope out, or maybe it's not their core scope of work, I would think.
I love that approach. And let's get to work on that.
Yeah, so.
All right.
Is there anything we could do today to secure that action so we don't further prolong that? I know I'm not sure procedurally, but
Why don't you just call for a quote from them and see how far out it is, and then,
We could include it as, if we're gonna have a special meeting,
good call.
put that on our agenda.
All right, we'll do that. So part of the double, Rob's got a great point. To the double haul solutions pathway will be a special meeting. I'm just gonna be requesting that via email. But it's important that we talk about that today, so glad you brought that up.
Is
John,
there-
sorry to interrupt you.
Is there any other patches that he can throw
That's
in
the
there?
nice part about it. Maybe we could compile this and get that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
We got a list.
Yeah, you got a list, though.
On this line of thinking, I can authorize the special meeting via email, but let's just stop here because this will be relevant to everybody. We were thinking about doing a special meeting at 5:30 PM on August 5th, which is next Tuesday. The objective of that special meeting would be related to the Double Haul Solutions Partnership and some input we need from council, but we could, to Rob's point, include the change order or some of this asphalt repair on that as well, just so we don't further delay it. Council, can you check your calendars to see if you'd be available for 5:30 PM on Tuesday, August 5th?
I am unavailable.
I'm sorry?
I'm unavailable.
I will.
You will be available?
No.
No, you're unavailable?
I have a conflict on that. I'll be out of town.
Okay. All right, well then, maybe let's do this. I can circle up offline with everybody to see what the availability is, because I don't want to spend too much time on that. But we're gonna need a special meeting anyways, and so it'd be nice to include the asphalt piece if we want to do that too. Okay, John, back to you. Thank you.
Mayor, you don't need all members there, though, right?
No, we don't, but I want to make sure we have a core mass, so we'll work
Right.
offline with that, and I can request it via email,
John, do you mind if I ask John another question?
please.
Hey, on the generators, are you planning on sole sourcing that? Is that what you're saying? The Cummins Bridgeway or the who?
No, I was gonna contact Cummings, I was gonna contact Michigan Cat.
Okay, so I thought you wanted to put it under one source.
No, I thought we had all Cummings equipment.
No, yeah,
We've got one of each.
yeah,
And
gotcha.
Bridgeway does service both of them,
Oh, they do both?
yeah.
Okay.
Are we gonna, you had mentioned the DPW, are we gonna add the community center to request a generator price for
can.
that?
That's important.
I would say we should get the quote for that.
Do them both.
That's a.
Don't combine them, just keep them separate.
Right, but ask for
Right,
2 generator prices.
just in case Amy has an issue.
All right.
Years ago, DPW had a generator on a pallet in the yard.
It's
You know,
gone.
It's gone?
That's at FEMA.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I seen that there a long time ago. They finally came and got it.
Okay.
Should've hit it.
All right, good call, and John's on it already. John, back to you.
Okay, DPW is requesting the approval of a Ferguson invoice from April 24th for 2-inch meter. Cost is $1,138.80. 2 meters were ordered. Council approved payment for the first one previously. We just received the other meter. And Ferguson's the only place we can get these meters.
Motion to approve the updated pricing for the second meter.
Yeah, motion to approve second meter purchase of cost of $1,138.80.
I'll second.
Second from Walden. Council, any further discussion on this matter? Clerk Tomasi, do you feel like you got that motion? I will pass it to you for roll.
Wood,
Yes.
Hex,
Yes.
McNabb,
Yes.
Mulnar,
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Motion carried. John, back to you.
Last council meeting on the 14th, I requested purchasing 40 fire hydrant markers from USA Blue Book at $24.26 each for a cost of $970.40 plus freight. I didn't have the freight cost at the time. On the 17th, when I placed the order, cost for each of the new ones was now $27.89 because the catalog we had was outdated. So I had a cost increase for the markers, but I did get a freight cost. So it's $316.20. That covers the cost difference in the markers and freight cost.
Make a motion to approve the expenditure of $1,286.60 to purchase the 40 hydrant markers from USA Blue Book.
A motion by Molnar, is there a second?
Second.
Second by McNabb. John, thanks for bringing this back to council.
Okay.
And I like how Rob just framed the motion for the overall cost that you just presented, so you got a clean motion there. Any further discussion?
It was nice that you worked with Amy to get the sales tax exemption certificate in, and we saved that, and that was a pretty
Yes.
easy process. So, terrific, thank you.
We never had that with them on previous purchases, so.
Clerk Tomasi, we're gonna have you call roll whenever you are ready.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Motion carried. John, back to you.
DPW is requesting to hire one part-time custodian for the community center and cook center. Pay rate will be $15.25 per hour. The custodian will report to the recreation director. I've received one application for this position. I do have one for part-time for City Hall. I think they went for drug testing today, and one for the DPW. I think he went for drug testing today. But this one here would be just for community center.
And council, just for
And cook
background, this
center.
one aligns to the discussion we had previously with a DPW, like City Hall focused janitor, and then separately a Recreation Department janitor. I know Amy's supported that structure, but I want to make sure you had the background there. This applicant, I want to respect confidentiality of the applicant, but as an applicant, seems well suited for the position.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that council had a chance to get a little bit of the background there from a structure perspective based on previous discussions and Finance Director McEwen's guidance on a financial basis.
I'll make the motion to approve the hiring of one part-time custodian for the community center and cook center.
Second.
Second by McNabb. Any discussion on this matter?
Just procedurally, I've never been through a process where we've approved employment engagement where we haven't named the employee and have specificity to it. Not that that's not okay. It just kind of throws me for a little bit of a loop, making sure that are we authorizing the opening of the position and empowering Mr. Sant to hire that person, or are we, if we're approving the actual hire, and it's just a different process than I guess I've gone through before.
That's a fair comment, and I think where I was coming from is the applicant pool we got. We tasked Parks and Recreation Director and John to review the applicants because they had the two different hires. So a part of this was empowering the department heads to make the recommendation. John, I don't know if you want to provide any more intel on the applicant publicly here.
This applicant was better suited for the position than the other candidates that I had.
Oh, so you had more than one candidate?
Yes.
Okay, because this, I saw this and said one application has been received, and I thought we only had one.
Well, it was one additional. I had
Okay,
four guys apply for the other DPW positions. One guy said all he wanted to work was part-time, so he's got City Hall. The other one I'm gonna take to the DPW, and the other two candidates, he was going back to school in August.
okay,
And the other one, I wasn't too sure of.
okay.
I picked the best ones that,
And so this is a new applicant?
there's a new applicant, but familiar with him. I should
Is there a,
fill the position good.
I kind of agree with Councilman Rob Molnar. Isn't there an application process or that should be attached to this on who that person is?
Yeah, I'm not, John, I don't feel any reason to be cryptic about this. I would
No.
encourage you to share whatever information you can about the applicant. I'm only familiar because I had the exposure of, obviously, the Parks and Recreation Director and you discussing this applicant, but perhaps you could educate council on this applicant's being motioned for hire, and it's a discussion now.
I forgot her first name.
Pam.
Pam Manning. Okay,
Perfect.
that's the candidate.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Pam Manning.
Any other background you want to provide?
I've got good reviews on her, okay? She takes care of the fireman's hall. It's spotless, and we need somebody over there to clean that kitchen once a month, give it a deep clean. Instead of having the DPW guys going over there and doing it. And she's flexible on her hours too.
Okay, yeah, again, I just point out the procedural difference that I'm accustomed to and want to make sure that we're doing everything right. And if they're going through the same processes with background checks and
Oh, yeah.
have gotten approval from the department heads, then I'm certainly supportive.
Awesome. So we have an active discussion ongoing. Any further discussion that we would like to hold? And if not, Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll whenever you are ready.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Motion carried. John, anything else on your end?
That's all I have for tonight.
John, thank you for everything you're doing. Appreciate it. I appreciate the summary of the infrastructure projects coming out of the Infrastructure Advisory Committee. Any questions for John before we turn over to Clerk Tomasic? Clerk Tomasic, floor is yours.
Thank you. I have two items tonight. My first item, request council's approval to attend the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks Masters Academy, scheduled for December 2nd through 4th in Mount Pleasant. The total estimated cost is $851.34. That's $525 for registration and $326.34 for lodging for 3 nights. These expenses are within the allotted budget for the clerks' education and training for the current fiscal year. The MAMC Masters Academy is a highly regarded and well-attended professional development and networking event for municipal clerks throughout Michigan. Attendance at this academy also contributes points towards my next level of clerk certification, which I'm actively working towards. The agenda of classes is attached to the packet for your review. So again, I am requesting council's approval for this training and travel expenditure.
Council motions in your court to authorize Clerk Tomasic to attend.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk Tomasic, we're excited for you to go. We'll have you call roll whenever you're ready.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Motion carried. Back to you.
Thank you for that. My second item, hold on. I am requesting council's approval of the attached resolution to approve early voting for the November 4th, 2025 local general election, which authorizes the implementation of early voting for Gibraltar's upcoming local general election on November 4th, 2025. As you know, early voting is now required by the Michigan Constitution for all federal and statewide elections. However, early voting is not mandated for local elections unless authorized by the local governing body. During the November 2024 presidential election, early voting was overwhelmingly popular. In Gibraltar, more voters cast their ballots through early voting than on election day. Offering early voting for our upcoming local election would provide expanded opportunities for residents who may be unable to vote on election day due to work, family obligations, or other conflicts, thus increasing voter participation. To provide increased accessibility and voting flexibility to our residents, I recommend offering early voting for the November 4th local general election. The proposed early voting days and times are as follows. Thursday, October 30th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. My reasoning there is to provide some evening hours for folks who have to work. And then Friday, October 31st, 8:30 to 4:30. And Saturday, November 1st, 8:30 to 4:30. As usual, early voting would be conducted at Gibraltar's voting location at the Gil Talbert Gibraltar Community Center. The total estimated cost for staffing 3 days of early voting is $1,512. For the reasons listed above, I respectfully ask council for their support and approval of the attached resolution to authorize early voting for the November 4th, 2025 local general election.
Council will be looking for a motion to approve and adopt the resolution to approve early voting for the upcoming November 4th general election.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Wood. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Walden. Council, any discussion on this matter? Well, Clerk Tomasic, we will have you call roll whenever you are ready.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Motion carried. Back to you. Anything else on your end?
No, that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Tomasic. Any questions for Clerk Tomasic? Treasurer Fonte, floor is yours.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions for Treasurer Fonte? Finance Director McEwen?
No report.
Any questions for Finance Director McEwen? All right, well, Police Chief and Public Safety Director Bullard, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Since the last council meeting, the police department responded for 115 calls for service, had 14 incident reports, 3 arrests, 7 traffic citations, and 3 DB investigations. Under Gibraltar Police Department news, again, I spoke with CN Railroads, an actual person, and there's no status on the railroad repairs on Gibraltar Road and Vreeland Road. I continue to create tickets with no response. On July 18th, I filed a complaint with the Federal Railroad Administration after receiving a complaint from one of my officers on the condition of the tracks and his safety concerns. On 7/11/2025, I created a ticket with Wayne County Roads requesting that they fix the approach at the intersection Greenland and West Jefferson. As you've all noticed, they're also in the process of replacing the gas lines right there. I've also been working with Mary Garreau, adding all the fire department employees in PACE. I'm hoping to have the fire department live with the program in a couple of weeks. I contacted GLK Electrical Services, do some electrical work in the basement. I'm in the process of cleaning up the building server room. The all-traffic solution sign is in its 3rd week of the study at the north end of Bayview, and Detective Sergeant Robinson is in his 6th month of staff and command. Included in my packet is the ordinance officer's report. I do have 1 city communication and 3 action items. The city communication, the city received 3 petitions requesting city street closures for block parties in June and July. Our first block party was on Rose Street between Bayview and Adams. The second was at Stoflet between Young and Lish. And the third was on Leslie Street between Adams and Bayview Street. All the requests were not permitted as we do not have an ordinance or application for block parties. While temporary road closures have been permitted in the past, they were not allowed this year. So I guess I'm requesting a motion from council. Do you want me to proceed with the city attorney preparing the city ordinance for block parties and application?
Yeah, Council, so I guess really, Chief, just to kind of put that in context behind what you've described, I think you're looking just for making sure that council is supportive of the pathway as you've described today. But obviously the specifics would be worked out with our attorney. I know you've also consulted some of the residents that were a part of previous applications for this process when there wasn't a formal ordinance language or a process. And obviously Clerk Tomasic has guided us through it previously on the readings for ordinance activity. So I think you're just really looking for support. The formalization of the pathway will come thereafter, right?
That's correct. And there is, in your packets, I did draft some language that I found from other cities, as well as I drafted an application that I can turn over to the city attorney for review if council wants me to proceed.
So I think my thought procedurally is the procedure, like ordinance language and applications and all that would come through the procedure of, like, we have multiple readings, et cetera, right? So it's really, I think the discussion might be, I might suggest that it's really about council. Do you have any objection to Chief pursuing this pathway today? Meaning exploring this.
I'd like to make the motion to open up discussion here on it.
Yeah,
if we
please.
could. I make the motion to provide approval to move forward on the ordinance proposal language and the application process for block parties.
So a motion by Molnar, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Walden, discussion?
So to your point, you know, this starts the process,
Yeah.
and then we can go through, well, when we have an ordinance that we're going to consider, the attorney will have reviewed it and provided his first reading. We talked about this before a couple of years ago, about reading more than just the title, the numeric title. So I think we can probably direct our attorney to give a synopsis and give the public an opportunity to show up and comment on their feelings on it at a first reading and also at a second reading, which would enlighten our votes on if we want to proceed with it or not. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think it's right, and I think procedurally we can take those steps. So Chief, thanks for bringing it, and active discussion before we vote, but any other discussion that council wanted to raise? Any feedback for Chief on at least the initial framework of language? All right, Clerk Domestic will have you call roll, and obviously the motion, to remind you, is authorization of Chief to pursue this path.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes. Motion carried. Chief, you have a path of support behind you in pursuing this further.
Thank you. My action item A, the city of Gibraltar previously had a signed agreement with the American Red Cross to utilize our facilities, which was signed back in May of 2019. The American Red Cross is requesting the renewal of the agreement. They are requesting to utilize the municipal building, which would be the basement, second floor, eating area, and the meeting room, the Gil Talbert Community Center, and the Cook Community Center. I am requesting to renew the American Red Cross shelter agreement with the city of Gibraltar.
Council,
Make a motion to approve the,
Red Cross shelter agreement.
yeah. The Red Cross shelter agreement?
Second.
Motion to approve the Red Cross shelter agreement, second, for motion by Cox, second by McNabb. Council, any discussion? Clerk Tomasic, whenever you're ready, we'll have you call roll.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes. Motion carried. Chief, back to you.
Thank you. Action item B, on January 21st, 2025, the DDA voted unanimously to authorize the city to solicit a request for bid for a new camera system to serve all the city buildings. I developed the specifications for the proposed city-wide camera system. Clerk Tomastic posted this bid solicitation on BidNet that were due on the 11th. The city received a total of 8 proposals. The most responsive bid was submitted by Actron Systems of Lincoln Park in the amount of $116,609.15. Actron's systems proposal met all the requirements and specifications as outlined in the RFP. On July 15th, I attended the DDA meeting held in council chambers. I requested funding for the city cameras from the DDA, and it was unanimously approved. My objective is to consolidate all city cameras into one unified platform. The police department is also familiar with the Vigilon camera system, as is currently in use and dispatched to monitor the Gibraltar School District facilities. I am requesting a motion for approval to contract Actron Systems as a vendor to install the Vigilon camera system at the municipal building, DPW, and community center, funded by the DDA in the amount of $116,609.15.
Council, motion's in your court.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilman Cox, aligned with the proposed action in Chief's packet. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by McNabb. Council, any discussion? I just want to thank you, Chief. I know we presented together at the DDA meeting on this topic. Evolution of technology, we've thrown money at the previous infrastructure, and it's not meeting our needs, both from a safety, security, and broader technology application point of view. So thanks for setting us up with a centralized platform that makes sure we're successful in this category moving forward. Appreciate it. Any other discussion? Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll whenever you're ready.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Motion carried. Chief, back to you.
Thank you. Action item C, the police department is in possession of 30 firearms that can be disposed of. I conducted a full property room audit and inventoried all firearms in the property room when I was in the Detective Bureau in 2019. I was also able to destroy 20 firearms with the Michigan State Police. 30 firearms are eligible for legal sale or trade to a federal licensed firearm dealer per the Michigan Penal Code Act 328. For the 2025-2026 budget, I budgeted for 11 new firearms for my 10 officers with the department, one being a spare. The police department current firearms are in need of new parts, magazines, springs, and triggers. It is also more effective or cost-effective to purchase new firearms. The firearms currently carried by Gibraltar police officers were put in service May of 2015. Pending council approval, the funds received from the sale of the 30 firearms will offset the cost of the new firearms. I also will be providing a 30-day public notice on the city's webpage with our intent to dispose of the firearms per the Michigan Penal Code Act 328. I'm requesting a motion to sell 30 firearms in the Gibraltar Police Property Room to a federal firearms dealer in accordance with the Michigan Penal Code Act 328.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by McNabb.
Sale of 30 firearms.
Motion by McNabb for the sale of 30 firearms aligned with the proposed motion language in your packet.
Second.
It was second by Walden, if I heard correctly. Council, any discussion on that matter?
What is the duration of time that you would expect a firearm to be in service?
I'm not an expert, but I'm told after 5 years, they should have been gone through, and they have not. Springs, triggers, new magazine springs, and like I say, they were put in service. The records I found were May 2015, so they're 10 years old. So the new firearms with the new sights that Lieutenant Trush just received, and he had training last week, it was around $1,500. We received, which is an old bid, we're looking at about $15,000 for new firearms, so minus $1,500 for Lieutenant Trush's. My goal is to bring around $3K for the disposal of the 30 firearms, plus years past, I'll bring it to the next council meeting. Officers have been given the opportunity to purchase their old firearm, or it'll be purchased. I believe the amount was, bid we got was $280 per firearm from Michigan Police Equipment in Lansing. So I'm actually going to Michigan Police Equipment in Lansing tomorrow with Lieutenant Trush, and they said they would actually give us more funding for a store credit. And we do get the firearms at the MIDL price.
So are these seized weapons or are they old service weapons?
The 30 firearms are seized weapons, donated weapons, dating back from the 90s. So,
Any further discussion? Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll whenever you're ready.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion carried. Chief, back to you. Anything else for us?
thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thanks for everything you and the department are doing. Fire Chief Simon, we're gonna pass it forward to you. You were highly celebrated amongst the community and at large for the swearing in, and we're just grateful to have you in that seat, so floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Our reporting period was 7:10 to 7:23. I had 20 calls for service, listed here 16 EMS, 4 fire, 0 special details, 2 of which were auto aids, 1 to Woodhaven and 1 to Flat Rock, and auto aid received 4 mutual aids, 1 from Rockwood and 3 from Brownstown. You'll see I've noted some historical data there just for reference. Going down the list a little bit, changes in personnel since last report. We have 3 Carlson High School cadets that are in the hiring process now in backgrounds. They'll be attending Fire 1 and 2, starting here in the fall. Additionally, we received an application from someone who is certified Fire 1 and 2 and EMT, and he is currently in backgrounds. Accomplishments, I have 2 years of service for firefighter Zooks and firefighter Ashelman. Congrats on them for 2 years of their commitment and time. Also, our EMT class, we're very proud of the students for their time and commitment to their coursework and to firefighters Jackson and Pizarski on successful completion of the class. Their next steps are going to be the National Registry and state licensing. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Fire Chief Simon. Any questions for Fire Chief Simon?
Not for Chief Simon, but Chief Bullard. Mr. Jones just completed that EMT class as well, right?
Yes, he has.
Yes.
He's up for his national registry. Once he does that, he is a certified EMT, so, yeah,
Awesome.
good for him.
Thanks for pulling that in, Walden. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Fire Chief Simon, thank you so much for the updates. And with that, council, that will close Fire Chief Simon's report unless there's any questions for Fire Chief Simon. And we have no unfinished business, no new business, no tabled and referred items. So public, the floor is once again yours. We'd love to open up for public comment if you have any for us this evening.
Dennis Bosmer, 29775 Point Drive. So I meant to mention this, my first time up here, I did not. My neighbor cut down a very sizable maple tree. He donated me the wood. My nephew and I got a log splitter, we split it up, we gave it to our loved ones, family members. I took some for, I wanted for our property. However, I'm guessing about maybe 2 beds of truck, like you fill your bed of a truck up twice. So there's a little bit of wood there. So I'm offering to anybody in our community, first dibs, first come, first serve. I need to move that out. It's actually an easement. I got with the city, I got with the ordinance officer, told him it's gonna be a week, 2 weeks, and flagged my address, so if there was any complaints about where it's placed. But I'd like to get that off the property, so I can restore that order. There's some contractors still wrapping up some work on both sides of my property, but this wood was given to me for free. I'd like that somebody wouldn't resell it. I'm just asking somebody to come and get it and use it for their own good. They wanna burn it in a bonfire. It's not chopped up like you would if you were micromanaging chopping it up, but it's sizable chunks that you can put in a little fire pit safely. 29775 Point Drive. It's actually technically North Point Drive. I'm in the cul-de-sac down there, so you're welcome to come by whenever. If I'm out there, I'll help you put it in your truck, help you out. Again, 29775, come on out and get some free firewood if you want it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public that wish to address council this evening? Council, may I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Walden, is there a second?
Second.
Second by McNabb. Clerk Tomasi will have you call roll whenever you're ready.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood? Cox?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for being here, appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Oh, thank you.
Well conducted meeting.
Appreciate that, thank you.
I think it was just more for like the location.
It is, all right. Yeah. Sure.
Bruce Senior is living the life. Yeah. Bruce Junior.
Hey.